Welcome everyone. Welcome to Around 2021, the first annual conference of Gravity Sketch, day 2. We're really excited. Yesterday we had such a great day listening to how industry leaders and design professionals have been using 3D to advance their design workflow. And today is not going to be any different. It's going to be as great as yesterday. And so before we kickstart the day, I would like to introduce myself. So I'm Daniela Paredes, co-founder and CXO of Gravity Sketch. And I would also like to introduce Jaren, who is our community manager. Jaren, do you want to introduce yourself? You're on mute.
Thanks. Hey everyone, I'm Jaren and I'm the community manager here at Gravity Sketch. And it's an honor to be hosting all of you and seeing just the amazing, incredible speakers that we have and the amazing professional community that we have joining us today. So it's a pleasure to be your host and I can't wait.
Thanks, Jaren. So yeah, Jaren will be behind the scenes making all the magic happen. And I wanted to introduce him because you'll be probably hearing his name quite a bit during the conference. And so without any further ado, I would like to welcome our first speaker, Molly Lindgren. She's going to be presenting an amazing project using Gravity Sketch and some other 3D design tools. Molly, welcome to Around.
Thank you. Let's see. My video is stopped by the host, it says.
Oh, sorry about that. Jaren, can you help us with that?
There we go. Sorry, you should be good now, Molly.
Let's see. So, hi. Can you see me now?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Great. Well, hi, everyone, and thanks for having me. Yeah, I will be presenting a bachelor thesis of mine from last year. And with no further ado, I'll share my screen with you guys.
All right, I'll leave it to you, Molly. Good luck.
Thanks. Let's see here. Yeah, I will be talking about finding new ways. So I'm Molly Lindgren and I currently work as a designer and art director at a company called Nordic Knots. And we are a Scandinavian rug company located in New York and here in Stockholm where I'm working. And as mentioned, I will be presenting my bachelor thesis for you guys, which is called Tuvan. I worked on it and finished it in the spring of 2020. And yeah, it was quite a special time to try and wrap up your bachelor's degree. So we, like me and all my classmates, began our project in January. I had set my brief and began working on the project. And my initial goal with everything was to gain a better understanding of a very traditional way of manufacturing furniture, as well as a contrast, a very modern one. And by taking inspiration from the large furniture manufacturer that used to employ my hometown, maybe like 50, 100 years ago, I chose to go with steam bending wood and as a contrasting friend, CNC milling, which they also use today at that factory. Two very different ways of shaping wood into organic shapes. And during my ideation stage, as most people, I like to sketch. I tend to start off with some good, some bad, but mostly just, getting the ideas out there before starting with any physical models at all. And yeah, we were all working hard, but then it came March of 2020, halting mine and all of my classmates' project. Naturally, our school shut down, our workshops closed, and we were not allowed back in our studios where we used to spend like all of our time. And for a while, we didn't really know what was going to happen with our projects, our semesters, or even life in general. But what I did know was that I could certainly not stick to my original plan, that's for sure. And after quite some time spent inside my one-bedroom apartment, thinking about the future of this project, I knew I had to find alternative ways of making it happen. I had to abandon my wishes to work with wood and natural materials, but I thought I could still make it happen, if at least in digital form. So I was very determined to still be able to work with my hands, and I really wanted to explore organic shapes, transitions, and I didn't want my knowledge in CAD to limit any ideas that I might find along the way. And that is when I was introduced to Gravity Sketch on an Oculus Quest. And for me, it was a very amazing experience to learn and to be able to shape 3D models directly with my hands. So instead of putting all of my energy and time into learning a 3D modeling software just good enough to create maybe my idea or sketch, I could now have fun along the way and really explore and try new things. And as mentioned, I'm certainly not a pro when it comes to traditional 3D modeling, and I do prefer sketching and hand-built models during the concept stage, especially. And that is why Gravity Sketch was such a game changer for me in this project. So instead of feeling limited because of the circumstances, I really felt like I could create anything sitting in my sofa in my student apartment. But since it was my first time using the software and the Oculus and everything, my sketch model started off pretty unrefined. And I used the VR sketching as my tool during my shape exploration phase. But the one-to-one scale that you can use together with the little human dummy that we all know so well really helped me understand my model without having the opportunity to build physical models and try them on real people. And I really loved working with the subdivision modeling. And for me, who is more used to sculpting with my hands, more than creating complex CAD models, this was a real dream. I was jumping back and forth between Gravity Sketch and Rhino, so I could check out the measurements and I could look at the details and do some refining on and off. And I also learned from some Googling and some reading in forums that I could use Rhino's 2 sub-D command as well as the 2 NURBs, if I remember correctly. And then I could translate the free model and use it in any software. And since I was more fluent in Fusion 360, I took it over there, did some detail work, put it back into Gravity Sketch, kept on working. And that little circle went on for quite some time, on and off. And during this process, I also did a lot of small scale 3D printed models of the chair. Luckily, I had my small 3D printer at home, which I had brought home from the studio. And it really made my life a lot easier. And I also did these 1:4 scale models where I printed all of the individual pieces and put them together to see how the dimensions looked and everything. And slowly but surely, I began to wrap the project up into my final model. And in the end, I used Gravity Sketch, Rhino, Fusion 360, and an Oculus Quest to make it all happen. And now I had my concept and my files, but I still really wanted to see my chair in real life, even if it wasn't going to be in wood. And since I had a couple of more days until it was time for the final presentation, I decided to set my little 3D printer to hard work again. I chopped up the 1:1 model in 33 little pieces that would fit into the printer and printed these fast plastic mock-ups. And so over the course of 3 days, my little printer worked very hard. And then I used super glue and baking soda to put them all together. And you got to work with what you got when you're in a new situation. And the result is this. So by using a stool and some Photoshop magic, I almost got to try out my chair in real life. And here you can see the finished model with the measurements. And here is a close-up of the transition of the armrest, which was really fun working on and was really, really challenging for me, who wasn't so used to working in 3D. and some more images of my little mock-up. And for me, I started this project off with quite a traditional mindset, and I thought I really had my path laid out in front of me. I was your typical design student. I wanted to create a good-looking chair. Who doesn't want to do that when you're studying design? But this project ended up being so much more to me. By being forced to find new ways in a very uncertain time, it helped me step out of my comfort zone, and it really helped me evolve both as a student and as a designer, I would say. So it might not be a perfect chair or a groundbreaking concept, but for me, this was so much more than I would have ever, learned if everything had been like normal. So instead of using steam bending and CNC milling, which I thought I was going to do, my project took its final form with the help of VR sketching and 3D printing. And it was all done at home in the little student apartment. And for me, it was a very valuable lesson of cliche enough to never give up and to always look for new ways. Thank you.
Wow. Really, really, really amazing story. Thank you for sharing this, Molly, with us. So what does that actually mean now for your workflow? Because you were kind of like really focused on a very traditional method at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
And I can empathize with that. I'm also kind of like quite passionate about wood bending. But now you kind of like figured how to create similar shapes, but in a different way. Obviously, you're not getting the wood, something that you were looking to get. How are you now going to kind of like merge both of them? Because I can imagine you love those traditional processes as well.
Yeah, well, so sorry, I didn't hear what you said at the end. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so how do you think you're going to now merge both things together?
Oh, yeah, like for me, it was a very valuable lesson, that to really try new things, because this was also, it helped me gain an understanding of both traditional and new methods. So like, I don't know, it's difficult to say, but it was a very eye-opening experience for me, and it made me more confident also in, trying out new softwares, but also still having that safeness in traditional, because I think I was a very safe person. I love natural materials overall, but it was also like I knew how they behaved and I knew how I could work with them. So when I was put in that spot, like try this thing, and I had no idea how it worked, but it was just so much fun. I don't know, it just made me a more open person, I think.
That's great. I mean, an open person, and also kind of like a person that already has an extra set of tools in her tool set.
Yeah.
Are you going to try to make the chair eventually in wood?
Yeah, I would love to do that. That was like when I wrapped up the bachelor's and I graduated, I was like, oh, now I'll have time to make it happen, but I still haven't had the time. I started working and then everything has just been busy, but I really do hope to make it someday, maybe with some minor tweaks, because I didn't have the time to really try out the seating and stuff like that, since I lost a bit of time when everything stopped, but I really do hope to make it one day.
Oh, so I mean, you were prototyping quite a bit, going back and forth between Gravity Sketch, Rhino Fusion 360 and 3D printing, and then eventually you decided to make a full-scale model or like a full-scale prototype out of it. But a lot of the testing was done at small scale, but in reality, like I imagine you were testing things out in VR in real size, right?
Yeah, all of the models in the VR was one-to-one scale and real life size. And as I mentioned, it really helped out with the little human dummy to be able to bend and try him out.
Did you get any surprises when you made it real scale?
Yeah, I think when I made the one-to-one mock-up, I think the back legs were a bit skinnier than I, thought they were in VR. So, some of those things, for me, I still need to see it in real life.
Cool. We have some messages here. Everyone saying very inspiring, amazing work, Molly. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Really cool that you could print it in pieces and assemble it in full scale and functional. That's a great learning curve right there. Almost applied to industrial design at LTH. Didn't send the test. Do they work with Gravity Sketch co-op mode there yet? Missed the start. Oh yeah, like if they work with Colab over there. I think Molly picked it up herself, right?
Yeah. They do have I know they have a big VR lab, but it's a bit older. The Oculus Quest was a private one. It was my boyfriend's that I got to borrow. So I picked it up on my own, but a lot of my classmates were also getting into it. So I think it's getting settled.
That's really cool. I mean, I studied at Lund. I told you already, for a year. It was an amazing place, an amazing school. So now it's really crazy to imagine that they're now using Gravity Sketch and VR to design.
Yeah.
I would have not imagined that in 2009.
Yeah, now I can see it out, but yeah, it's an amazing place. And if anyone is looking to apply there, I can really, really recommend it. I had a great time.
Yeah, I can agree. All right, well, questions are starting to come in. All right, guys, don't be shy, keep sending them. Do you still use VR in your business at Nordic Knot?
No, we don't. It's more, rugs tend to be kind of flat. So it's not a lot of modeling in that sense, but we are interested in getting into, 3D interiors to show to clients and stuff like that. But we work a lot with, classic photographs, like our images is pretty much one of our strongest points. But we are interested in moving on to some more modern ways.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's kind of like a slow process, getting people to understand the value, right? And I think there's also a lot of value in the previous tools that people use. It's only a compliment. We always think about it like that. So, well, thank you so much, Molly, for sharing your project and for joining us today at the round. It's been really great to hear your story and how you went from very traditional into just kind of like going to the completely other extreme of testing the latest tools in 3D design, and how it all came together in a very kind of like beautifully looking piece of design. Which is, I mean, I think when I saw your work, that was something that I like, that just kind of like popped out. If I would have seen your chair somewhere, I would have never imagined that it was done with Gravity Sketching with VR, and like just hearing all of your process and finding everything that you have done throughout it. It's been really amazing to see how the result is still kind of like this very beautiful and very well crafted piece of work.
Big thank you for all your kind words and for having me, of course. It was very fun, and thank you for letting me present.
Of course. If there are no other questions in the audience, we keep getting some like really good work. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
All right, Molly, well, thank you so much, and everyone else, see you back later on for a big announcement from Gravity Sketch, so stay tuned.
Exciting. Thanks, Molly. Thank you. Bye.